The Panzer III, Germany's early Blitzkrieg backbone. When most people think of German tanks in World War II, images of the massive Tiger I or the sleek, powerful Panther often come to mind. These late-war machines have become legends. But before those giants rolled onto the battlefield, the German army depended on a more practical, flexible, and mass-produced vehicle. The Panzerkampfwagen III, or simply the Panzer III. This tank was at the forefront of Hitler's Blitzkrieg in Poland, France, and deep into the Soviet Union. While it was later eclipsed by newer models, it was the Panzer III, not the Tiger, that symbolized Germany's early armored strength. Concept and purpose. Built to battle tanks. By the mid-1930s, as Germany rebuilt its military, it realized the need for a range of tanks tailored to specific roles. The early Panzer I and Panzer II were small, lightly armed, and mostly used for training or infantry support. German strategists understood they'd need a true medium tank, fast enough to push through enemy lines, strong enough to engage rival tanks, and tough enough to protect its crew. That vision led to the creation of the Panzer III, designed by Daimler-Benz beginning in 1934. Its role was clearly defined. While the Panzer IV would carry a short-barreled gun for supporting infantry, the Panzer III would be fitted with an anti-tank weapon and serve as Germany's main tank fighting vehicle. This two-pronged approach, one tank for supporting troops, another for engaging enemy armor, was an innovative concept that reflected Germany's advanced military thinking. Design and weaponry. The earliest versions of the Panzer III came with a 37mm KWK-36 gun, the same size used in German anti-tank weapons at the time. That was enough to handle the lightly armored tanks of the late 1930s. But as the conflict escalated, the 37mm round proved too weak against heavier opponents, like the British Matilda and the Soviet T-34. Starting in 1940, the Panzer III was upgraded. First with the 50mm KWK-38L42, then with the more effective 50mm KWK-39L60. These upgrades gave it a better shot, literally, at dealing with the latest Allied armor. Armor protection improved too. Initial models had just 15mm of steel, only good against small arms. Later versions were fitted with 70mm of frontal armor, which greatly improved survivability, though it was never impenetrable. Importantly, the Panzer III featured a 5-man crew: commander, gunner, loader, driver, and radio operator. This clear division of roles let commanders focus on leading, not multitasking, giving German crews a coordination edge on the battlefield. Blitzkrieg in action. At the start of the war in 1939, only a few Panzer IIIs were available for the invasion of Poland, with most tanks being lighter models. But by the 1940 Battle of France, Panzer III units were leading the charge. They weren't unbeatable. Heavily armored French and British tanks could withstand their fire, but Germany's superior tactics, radios in every tank, and air support made the difference. The result was a fast-moving and overwhelming armored assault that stunned the world. During Operation Barbarossa in 1941, Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union, the Panzer III saw its peak use. Thousands rolled across the vast Soviet terrain, outperforming early Soviet tanks like the BT-7 and T-26. Then came the Soviet T-34 and KV-1. Suddenly, the Panzer III wasn't up to the task. Its 50mm gun could sometimes take out a T-34 from the side or rear, but not from the front. Panzer III crews quickly learned they were outgunned. Adapting to a changing war. Rather than retire the Panzer III immediately, Germany adjusted. Production shifted toward the Panzer IV, now upgraded with a longer 75mm gun. Meanwhile, many Panzer IIIs were repurposed. converted into assault guns like the Sturmgeschütz III or Stug III, fitted first with a short 75mm howitzer and later a long-barreled anti-tank gun. The Stug III became one of the most successful German armored vehicles of the war, outlasting the Panzer III itself. Other Panzer III hulls were transformed into command vehicles, recovery tanks, and even flamethrower tanks. This ability to reuse and repurpose helped keep the Panzer III relevant, even after it stopped being a frontline tank. Pros and cons. The Panzer III's greatest asset was its balance. It was fast, dependable, and well thought out, particularly in terms of crew layout. While it lacked the firepower or armor of later models, it fit Germany's early war needs perfectly. Its biggest drawback? Limited upgrade capacity. Unlike the Panzer IV, the Panzer III's design couldn't support bigger guns or heavier armor without major overhauls. As enemy tanks like the T-34 and Sherman became more common, the Panzer III couldn't keep up, and its role as a main battle tank faded. Its lasting impact. By 1943, the Panzer III was largely withdrawn from frontline combat and replaced by improved models like the Panzer IV. But its influence was already secure. With more than 5,700 units built, the Panzer III had played a vital role in Germany's early victories. The Blitzkrieg strategy would not have been as effective without its speed and mobility. Even after being pulled from the front, the Panzer III continued to serve in training, support, and rear line roles. It effectively bridged the gap between the light tanks of the interwar years and the advanced heavy tanks of later World War II. In conclusion, an overlooked legend. Today, tank fans often talk about the mighty Tiger and Panther, but it was the Panzer III that carried Germany through its early lightning campaigns. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't the most powerful, but it was reliable, efficient, and perfectly suited to the fast-paced war Germany waged in the early 1940s. In many ways, the Panzer III was the unsung hero of Germany's armored forces, a machine that helped shape history before it was passed over by it.